The hat's on, hands are washed. I'm going to take you from 4 ingredients to make choux pastry and produce desserts like this. So in the pan I've got my water and in goes the butter. That's all cut up into small knobs. I just find that mounts quicker. And then you want to get that to come to the boil, but not over boil. So there we have it, we're up to the boil. So the gas is right down, flour that's sieved goes straight in all at once. And then stir that round until it all combines. Right, and you want to give this a good pounding. Make sure you get all the flour mixed in there so there's no lumps, and keep it slightly still on the gas because you're going to cook this out for a tiny bit. So once you get to this stage where it starts to leave the sides, then you're almost ready. I just give it a couple of minutes, just give it a good beating. When it's leaving the sides, as you can see, you're ready for the eggs to go in. Just turn the stove off so there's no more heat, and then just let that cool a little bit before the eggs go in. Okay, so it started cooling down. If you've got a KitchenAid or a Kenwood, then you could put this on a beater and do it on the machine. But if you want to build your arms up like Popeye, then just do it by hand. Add the egg in a little bit at a time. And then we want to make sure that's all going combined in there before we add the next bit of egg. Don't go with all your egg in one go because it'll just turn into a bit of a disaster. So a little bit of egg at a time. Make sure that all gets mixed in first before you add your next bit. Okay, so once all your eggs are in, we should be sort of reaching that sort of consistency where it's pipeable, but still nice and smooth. If it's not looking like that, then you've done something wrong. Now get your piping bag, and the way I like to do it is I fold this completely over, so you've got that to work with, and then just grab your mixture and straight inside. So normally some people put a nozzle in there, a plain one. I don't bother. If I'm using a piping bag like this, I just cut the end off. And then, so for profiteroles, all I do is push the ends down, otherwise they get caught in the heat and burn a bit. So with a fork and some water, just push them down. Okay, so we're going to put some almonds around a few of these just for a different effect and gives it a nice flavour. And then with the eclairs, I just, like you do with a profiterole, I just push them ends down a bit just so it doesn't lift up and burn. It all sort of cooks nicely together. For the creme patisserie, what we want to do is we want to get our milk warmed up. So that goes on the stove, and I've got a vanilla pod in there. Then in this pan, I've got some flour, some custard powder, sugar, and a little bit of milk. And then I'm going to add to that the egg yolks. So egg yolks go in, and then we just whisk all that together. So milk's coming up to the boil, so I'm going to just turn that off for a second while I show you. I'm going to pour that into this mixture along with the vanilla pod. And then with a strainer, if you don't have one of these, just use a normal sieve. We're going to pour that through there. This just gets rid of any little lumps that might be left from the egg. And then I'm going to put my vanilla pod back in there. And then we're going to go back on with the heat and just constantly keep turning that. So on a lowish heat, just keep turning that and stirring until we get a thickness consistency, like almost like a thick custard. Because I've got custard powder in here rather than just corn flour, it's going to thicken up quicker than a normal creme pat. So you don't want to overheat it because it's going to just curdle. So once you see it thickening up, you can get your whisk and just start whisking that. As you can see, that's looking lovely. No, not lumpy at all, and thickened up nicely. So once you've got to that stage where it's literally all come together, it's time to turn the heat off and just let that cool naturally. What I normally do, if you're going to just leave it to cool, I put like a bit of cling film over the top, otherwise it will skin over. For your chocolate sauce, we've got a saucepan with our water and sugar in. We're going to bring that one up to the boil. And then with our other ingredients, we're going to just add that to the rest of the water, mix that in. So we're just dissolving the sugar now and bringing that to the boil. And then here I've got the rest of the ingredients all mixed with that water. And as soon as all that sugar's dissolved and it's come up to the boil, we're going to just turn the gas down a little bit. And we're going to pour that straight into this mixture. And then we're going to just mix that together. And we're going to introduce that back into the pan and the gas back on again. Make sure it all goes in there. The amount of times I see people, they pour stuff in and leave half the ingredients in the actual bowl or container is crazy. So make sure all that goes in there. Gently on a low heat, we're going to keep that on a stir until it starts thickening up. It won't take too long. And once you see that starting to thicken, you want to just make sure it's all stirred and combined. And then once you feel like it's at the stage where it's just coating the spoon, you want to turn the gas off, give it a good stir, and then that's the time to put your chocolate in. And then you want to give that good whisk in. As you can see, that's got a nice shine to it. And then with this one, I just add a drop of cream once all the chocolate's melted. I just add a splash of double cream just to bring that down a little bit. You can sort of cool that down now, and then you can keep that in the fridge ready for the day. Pour it on top of the profiteroles and everyone's going to be happy. The way I like to prepare my profiteroles is I like to take a little knife and I just put a little hole in the bottoms, And then I've got a piping bag here, and I've got one of these metal nozzles, which you don't really have to have, but for me they go in and it's just a lot more easier for doing that. And with your cream, make sure it doesn't get over whipped. I hate it when I see people over whipping cream. It doesn't taste nice and it doesn't look good. What I will say is, if you do whip cream up, it's always good to do double cream and whipping cream together, equal quantities, that way it doesn't over whip. With double cream, if you work it too much, even in the piping bag, it will tend to sort of over whip, and it just, like I say, it's not particularly nice. So just a little bit of cream to start with. Like I say, if you put too much in there, if you're handling it too much, it tends to make it go stiffer and it's just not nice. So straight in there, squeeze until that fills that one up. And as you see it sort of just coming out of the edges, you know it's packed full of cream. That's going to sit on someone's plate. They're going to be happy. No one likes to get a profiterole, no cream in. You feel like you've been robbed. So squeeze it till you see that cream coming out almost the edges. You can feel the weight there. And then there's the chocolate sauce we made earlier. Lovely and silky and smooth. Get that together already, whatever the occasion. Look at that. You can't tell me you're not wanting to make these now and eat them. So that's your profiteroles done. Perfect. So for the eclair topping, I've got chocolate and icing sugar in that bowl. I'm just going to pour a little bit of boiling hot water out the kettle and then mix that. You could do a ganache. I know a lot of people do that, but this is just something a little bit different. I find this is a little bit nicer. I'm going to mount that in the microwave now just to get it all nice and smooth, and add a drop of cream as well. So once you've got a nice smooth consistency like that, you're ready to dip or baste your eclairs. It's up to you however you want to do these, but I always just cut them straight in half. I always find it sort of easier for me to control that way. Some people just cut them like that and fill them, but I find it's not so easy to dip them that way. And then with your sauce that you've just made, just pour that into something shallow. You don't have to do it this way, you could just spoon it on there. And then just grab them, give them a nice dip like you're in the bath, pull them out. So the pastry cream we made earlier, it's nice and cool now. I always put like half there, but it's entirely up to you how much you want to put in there. And then we're going back on top. So I'm just going to make a little piping bag out of some parchment paper. These are simple to do if you know what you're doing. If anyone wants to leave a comment down below and wants to know how these are made, I can do a video showing that. But and then I just a bit of white chocolate which has been melted. So just fold that all up, a little snip at the bottom, give it a little test there first, and then just Just gives them that nice little professional finish. Everyone's gonna think you're a professional chef now. What do you think of those? Let us know in the comments down below, but I'm sure you're gonna love them. If these don't make you smile, then you're a miserable git. Which one do you prefer? Profiteroles? Eclairs or Profiteroles? Leave us a comment down below. If you want to see more amazing videos, the missus is moaning at me, telling me you need to subscribe. So until next time, enjoy.